When you go shopping for tripod heads, you will come across three major types. The first, of course, is the ball head. I would assume everyone watching this video has one of these. The second type is also popular, though not as popular or as ubiquitous as the ball head, and that is the fluid head, also known as a video head. And then finally, there is the third type, which is far less common. You don't see many people using these. They're a little more specialized, talking about a geared tripod head. And the thing that sets a geared head apart and makes it unique and different is the fact that when you mount a camera to this, and let me just go ahead and mount one, the camera is always stable. You never have to touch the camera, actually, unlike a ball head, which, as you know, when you loosen up the key on the side of it, well, the head flops over, the camera flops over, and this can be especially difficult when your camera is somewhat heavy. So you have to hold onto the camera with one hand, loosen up the key, move the camera around, get it into just the right spot that you want, then tighten it back down and just hope and pray that the camera doesn't drift. But this gives you very precise, very stable control. We can turn this one down here in order to tilt the camera forward and backward. We can use this one over here to tilt the camera laterally, sideways, left to right. And then out here we have the pan knob, and this is a 360-degree pan knob, and I can turn them as slowly as I want to, just to incrementally move that camera millimeter by millimeter. And this is why you often see architectural photographers, interior photographers, some product photographers use these as well, even some landscape photographers too. There's all different types of photographers that appreciate these types of heads because of that control, because of that super precise level of control that they're able to get. Okay, so the geared head that you're looking at here in front of me, this is a new model. This is a new geared head that just came out at the time of this video in January 2024. It is made by Neewer, which is a company and a brand that I'm quite familiar with. I have a number of Neewer products. I bet some of you probably do as well, because they make a very wide range of camera products and accessories. Neewer kindly sent this geared head over to me for review, but they have had no involvement in this video. They've not paid me to make this video. They've not sponsored it. They just simply sent it to me, and that's it. So everything you are going to hear in this video is my honest and unbiased opinion about this product. So the reason why I wanted to review this particular geared head from Neewer isn't simply because it's a new product, but also because of its price. This product is very inexpensive compared to other premium high-end geared heads that you can buy. And overall, the construction is pretty good. I mean, most of it is made of durable metals, not like, cheap plastic or anything like that. It has an ARCA plate up here on top, ARCA compatible plate. So if you have ARCA Swiss like L brackets or just regular plates for your camera, they will fit in here. And this geared head also comes with its own specialized mounting plate as well, which is actually quite cool. This is a nice feature to add because it has an ARCA plate here on the bottom that slots in up here, and just drop it in here. But the main reason to use this particular plate that comes with the geared head is that this has an integrated 360-degree panoramic head on top of it, which is nice because it means then you can rotate the camera. Why don't we go ahead and put it on there and try it out? Instead of panning the entire geared head, I can just loosen up this little knob back here on the back of the mounting plate, and then I have 360-degree rotation just of the camera itself. And I think this works pretty well. The only real complaints I have about this plate is that it does require either a hex wrench, and you do get one with the geared head. You've probably got like 20 of these laying around, I bet, somewhere in a drawer, or you have to use a standard screwdriver in order to tighten this. I wish that Neewer and all other companies, when they put these in, there are particular hex screws that have the little integrated handles that flip out that you can then use to hand tighten it. Now, hand tightening oftentimes does not tighten as well as a dedicated hex wrench, but at least it works in a pinch when you need it, and you don't have to go scrounging around in a bag and all that kind of stuff. So another accessory that comes with the GM-38, in addition to the panoramic plate, is this extension rod. And this is nice. This is a nice thing to include because a geared head like this, this particular arm here actually sticks down a little bit lower than the mounting plate. So depending on the diameter of the top of your tripod may or may not be able to accommodate this. Like I can't mount this directly to this by itself because it's not flat. So what you have to do is you have to use a riser. And when you'd use one of these, you just mount this to the top of your tripod, to the 3/8 of an inch mount that you have on top, and then mount the geared head to that. And that gives you obviously more clearance and more room here to be using this particular knob. Now, in addition to being able to just slowly, incrementally, change the position of the camera by rotating one of these three knobs, you can also move the camera quickly on that particular axis through this little, this silver collar that you see at the base of the knob. And basically what you do is you just twist this until you feel it lock into place. And there's a little catch down here, and all three of these have the exact same thing. And when it catches like that, then you're able to move that particular axis. You're able to move that freely. So if you need to quickly get from point A to point B and you don't want to be sitting there spending your entire day cranking it, you can just put it into that position and it's loose and you're able to get it exactly where you want it to be. And then you reach back up under here, push that little switch back in, the collar releases, and then you're back to just, slow, small, incremental millimeter by millimeter movements. I do have to say though that I'm not that crazy about this design. I find the tab to be like a little rough to use. I mean, sometimes it feels a little bit tight, especially when, because there's all this tension that gets built up when it is locked, when it is in that free mode, and you kind of have to push against that tension. It just doesn't feel that great. I don't know how else to put it. Another thing that I'm not particularly wild about with the GM-38 here from Neewer is that the gauges that you see, like this one here, there's also one here as well, and one on the backside here too. These are not like engraved into the metal. These are simply stickers. Looking under the stickers, like I have air bubbles under mine and I can feel that there's like little bits of dirt and some grit underneath them. So I kind of have this feeling that if I were to take this outdoors and if it were to get wet or changes of temperature and humidity or whatever, I kind of feel like these stickers are eventually going to flake off. Maybe there's some practical reason why they went with stickers for this. I don't know, but I wish they had done something a little bit nicer and a little more durable. Now, another thing I'm not totally wild about with the GM-38 is the plate lock up here at the top. This is what you use to tighten down either the panoramic head that comes with it or your own Arca plate or L bracket or whatever you're using. The reason I'm not totally crazy about it is because all it takes is like a half rotation. Like that's it. And now it is locked. And the reason why I think that could be a problem is because there's very little just distance between it being fully unlocked and it being locked, which doesn't give me the greatest amount of confidence that the plate is actually going to stay in here, because it feels like the kind of thing that could loosen up fairly easily. And it doesn't take much for this, to fully loosen up, for this to drop and for this to start sliding around. So it feels like it just needs like a little more torque, like it just needs a little more distance in here in order to get that plate like really locked down and tight. But the main reason why I don't think the GM-38 is going to be the right geared head for everyone is because of the user experience of the dials themselves, the dials that you use to change camera position, across all three axes. This is one of those tricky things where technically they work, like they do the job. There's no problem there. They incrementally move the camera, millimeter by millimeter into the exact position that you want. The problem though, and the thing that I have found is that the knobs are very unpredictable. Like, right now this one feels rather loose, but as I turn this, I can feel it. Well, now it's getting a little bit looser. And if I keep going, it's going to start getting a little bit tighter and tighter. And after a bit, it just becomes a little strenuous. And the same is true for the other two knobs. The other two knobs do the exact same thing. And it feels rather random. Like it's kind of weird. Like you'll be turning it, it'll feel fine. Then all of a sudden it'll just kind of tighten up on you. And you're kind of like, oh man. And you kind of have to power through it. And then suddenly it'll start to loosen up again. And again, like I said earlier, I'm also just not particularly wild about this this free lock, system that they have here. I just find these little pins just to be rather small and uncomfortable to use. I just don't like using them. And I feel like the design of this whole thing here, like all three knobs, I feel like the design of all of them could be better, and the tension in these dials could be more consistent instead of, being loose and then tight and then loose again. And it just feels like one of those buy cheap, buy twice kinds of products. I wish it was better because, it does come with some nice accessories and the price is obviously very attractive as well. But I don't have the greatest amount of faith in its long-term durability or usability. And I think the only people who should really be considering the GM-38 would be those who are shopping on a budget. Otherwise, the average person should save their money, I think, and put their money towards a more expensive, higher quality geared head that you will be happier with. So those are my thoughts about the GM-38 geared head from Neewer. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please let me know by giving this video a thumbs up down below. And if you would like to learn more information about the GM-38 and check the current price of it, I will put a link down below in the video description that you can use to learn more. If you want to hang out with me again in the future and do this again, I do product reviews like this. I also do tutorials as well about Lightroom, Photoshop, and other applications. And whenever I have a chance and I'm able to go out in the field and do landscape photography, I bring you along for that and create some videos from the field. So a variety of different types of videos here on my channel. So if all that sounds good and you want to do this again, remember to subscribe while you're down there as well. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. I will see you next time.